fantastic. We must have Ritz on as we speak. I know. I love it. Love, love, love it.
And you'll want to click the slide. Just, yeah.
To get it started.
Yeah.
And then this will work as long as we aren't too long on our time or whatnot. Fantastic. Well, shall we wait? We are on time, ready to go. I love that. I am going to put a timer on to keep us on track. How many people did you guys have in class on Monday?
2, including, or 3, including me.
Who else was here?
It was Courtney and
what's her name?
Sarah.
Sarah and Courtney. I see them, but I don't know them, so I'm a little bummed. That's why I was excited to teach.
So Courtney is an investor and has like several properties like the Bay Airbnb.
Okay.
And that's why she wanted to get in. And she actually just got a listing from her good friend that's down the street on her street. And her friend was going to use somebody else. And she was talking to us all about it. And we were just like, just be honest, just go tell her that you're going to do a better job than anybody else because you're invested. She did. She got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's like I think she was saying 650-ish.
And that, like the lesson, there's so many lessons in that, but one of the biggest lessons is that we have to talk to the people we know and let them know we want their business or we want to serve them.
Well, that's what it was Sarah. She was like, I have the same thing going on with my friend. And I went and talked to her and they talked about them selling their house. And I was like, but did you ask if you could be their agent? And she's like, no. And I'm like, if you don't ask, she doesn't know you want to be. And she may think that you're too busy. She may think that you're not interested because you didn't ask. And she's like, really?
She might even think you aren't officially ready to if you don't ask. She might think you're still in training. She might think all of the things we don't know because we didn't have the conversation. I think that's the most, like, there's so much value in realizing we have to talk to people and ask for their business. And I say ask for their business, but I do think it is like they have to know that you want to serve them. They have to know you want to be in relationship with them, that you do have enough time as well too. Because I think that was something for me. I have to watch because when people ask how I'm doing, I'm like, busy, good, great. And I realize a lot of times and they don't feel like there's space for them.
Right. If they're how's it going? Oh, it's
busy and good. And that was an affirmation I realized in bold that I was saying. It was probably 4 years ago, maybe. And every time I realized I was totally affirming busy and good. I was like, oh, that was a horrible affirmation.
right.
Not horrible. It's just half of a good affirmation and half of a poor affirmation, which equals out to 0. How are you? Good. Well, let's actually start with, I usually make you guys have name tags too, just to always help me remember. I feel like your name starts with an A, but my brain just, tell me your first name again. Ivan. No, see, I was close, but not there. There we go. Ivan. And we know Dave, right? And last night I was like, I owe you, have cash at my office for you. I do. I told you I'd Venmo you and I didn't Venmo you. You open doors and you do stuff. Yeah, but that was for reimbursement. You took money out of your pocket to buy something. You also, I owe you because you went and opened a door for me. And I'm in bed last night thinking about it. I was like, I was doing finances last night and I was categorizing Venmos and I categorized the one for 35. I was like, oh, I never paid you for going and helping me on the other deal. So, well, I'm excited to have you guys here. I also usually start with something else, but today we're going to start with gratitude. What's one thing you're grateful for? It is so nice out there. Do you know that Saturday's supposed to be 70?
I know. I have my kids this weekend.
Oh.
What are we going to do at 70 degrees? Want to go to the park and bring your friends?
That's awesome. Do something like fun. I'm going to go on my first bike ride of the season. early in the morning because I have open houses on Saturday, but I'll get up early and it'll be my first bike ride. And I just told a friend of mine, I met one of my friends for coffee. They're both in their 70s. They're my friends. And the one gal I haven't spent as much time with, but she loves to hike. And she didn't realize that one of my favorite trails is the backside of Deer Creek. I don't know if you guys have ever been up there, but you get to the top of the canyon and on the left side there's a pull off and the trail, yes, right before the bridge. And that goes the backside of Deer Creek. It's quiet. It's nice, gorgeous views. It's flat for the most part.
Where the train tracks are?
Uh-huh. Over on that side, it's 10 miles. It starts there and it goes over to Midway, like by Soldier Hollow. Yeah. I've never made it the whole distance because I am always hike in, hike out. So I might go a few miles in, a few miles out. But I'm going to go with her as the moral of the story is my friend that just turned 70. She is a hiker too. So a couple things about Angie, because I'm like, why am I teaching your class? Not that it matters, but a little bit. So you have like reasons why we should listen. I might know some things. So we've sold over 300 houses. We own 16 investment doors. How are you? Good. Remind me your first name. That's right. Every time I ask you, I'm like, I know that. Yes, I met you up in the conference room. So, all right. And we have represented several builders and new construction communities. I do have an amazing daughter who just turned 18, super cool husband. I have a very loving doodle. She keeps my life light and fun. I do love sunshine. It's so good for your soul. Hiking, paddleboarding, the beach, riding my bike, and helping people out. So it's nice to meet you guys. We were talking about gratitude. What are you grateful for this morning?
I guess my birthday coming up, the 23rd. So nice. I just have to,
How fun. Another like being grateful for one more year on this earth. Another chance. That's so cool. What are you grateful for this morning?
Honestly, for education. I'm almost done with my bachelor's. So getting close.
Very cool.
I like it. So,
you know, it's so crazy because the coolest thing about knowledge is it's something nobody can ever take from you. You can make money, you can lose money, you can buy houses, you can lose houses, you get all these things in life, even in relationships and all those things. But knowledge that you invest in and you gather, it is yours till you die. It's so cool. My gratitude this morning with my team was that breakfast I had with my friends made me realize we have a lot of life still. And this gal that's 70 loves to sail. She loves to hike. She's going to Japan. I just think, man, I am so grateful that we have that chance. Baby, we're so lucky to have you in class today. I can't believe you came. That's awesome. Well, Bibiana, what are you grateful for? Life. We're so lucky. Such a good thing. I love it. Bibiana is my good friend. If you guys have not met her yet, she has really great Spanish speaking resources. She's a badass. She's so smart. No, she really is though. Like she's just really, really good. Also smart when it comes to investing and like, again, good resources. So every time people are looking for Spanish speaking resources, I'm like, tag Bibiana. She has good inspectors, lenders, and then has taken care of some of my personal, really, really good friends. I've referred out to her. So if you ever need help, she is a great resource. I'm so glad you're here. Today, I am smushing 2 classes into one. So I am looking for your guys' permission to go off script some. My goal is to go through the regular, we're gonna come back to this one. I thought I had one more slide. I wanna go through the regular slides because as I've gone back through after coaching and watched people's sessions, people who stuck to the content had really good classes. And sometimes I don't do very good sticking to the content. So if we are fast enough to get through the content, I've shoved other slides at the end. So you gotta help me stay on course for that. But the things that I wanted to go through and make sure we hit on my own personal stuff that are at the end. are going to be on staging, listing, setting expectations, communication with your listings. I have some, you can tell my slides, not theirs, because they're not as pretty. And I want to go over some of the scripts while we're talking with sellers. And some of these things we're going to go through as we go through it. It's not so much like I will give you a stack of scripts when talking with sellers. Just be prepared, because it's a little bit more like split personalities. It might be like, okay, now we're in the listing appointment, and you'll hear how, and I say the same things to all the sellers all of the time. Okay. One of the most important things I want to talk about today, though, is our fiduciary duty when it comes to sellers. So a lot of times we don't really think about, does anyone want to take a stab in the dark about what fiduciary is, especially in our current situation when we have fiduciary agents and functionary agents that are going to be coming up?
Do like what is right, what is like needed, and the functionary just do what they got paid for. Like,
yeah. It's true. When you start to think about what does that fiduciary mean, you have to act as if you're them, or the best interest of your client. Everything we're doing is in the best interest of that client. And a functionary agent might put the sign in the yard, might put them on the MLS. A fiduciary agent, and I'm pretty passionate about this word lately. We sold a property in Florida. And did you know that the paperwork, ours is an exclusive right to sell here, and we have a fiduciary duty. They're functionary agents, and it actually says that. They are a functionary agent, and they aren't fiduciary agents. It was crazy to me. We are so blessed that we live here, that we serve with our agents here, that we have the leadership. So good. But when I think about fiduciary duty, when we talk about sellers, it's really being able to be honest and have the real conversations. I think it's super important that we realize a functionary agent is going to not tell somebody how the condition of their house is going to affect things. A functionary agent probably won't tell them that the cat urine smell is going to affect the impact of them selling. A functionary agent will let them price their house. A functionary agent is going to maybe call them once a week, but they're not actually the fiduciary. So we're going to kind of get into that. For our team, our team's second commandment is we do what is right because it pays well. Every time we act in that fiduciary manner, even if we lose the contract, we always get paid well. We have a saying that says, save the client, not the deal. And that's guided us so well. When maybe something's under contract and it's not right for them, but we just really want to keep it under contract, don't save the client, not the deal. Okay. All right, let's keep moving. Now we're back to their slides. Okay, while leads are vital to your sales business, seller listings are critical to your ability to build it to its highest level with the lowest cost and the highest net. Why do you think that is? And this has to be an interactive class, because it's not, it just has to be. Why do you think listings matter? Why are they so much more important? Not more important. Yeah, they're more important to the livelihood of your business. The people are not more important.
Because it gets your name out there?
Yes. Your name's on a sign. And on the listing. And what else? Say that again. Listings move the market. He who holds the listing controls the market. Or she, whatever. He who holds, whoever holds those listings, they control everything. You get your name on the sign, it gives you something to advertise. When your name is on the sign, they call you. When I started, I came from the restaurant business. I didn't have a lot of high net worth individuals in my life. And I went to work. I was able to get to work with an agent that was established in the office, and she had a model home. And so I was doing everything I could to try to work in her model home for her, right? And one day I said to her, I'm like, I don't know people who are going to buy these houses. Why are you going to give me a shot? And she's like, Angie, what you have to realize is when your name is on the side, on that $1 million listing, people call you. Someone who has $1 million calls you. The people who are looking at that call you. And then you begin to have relationships with those. It changes your sphere. It opens up opportunity. So when your name is on that sign, they do call you. So for every listing you have, you should actually get 2 to 3 closed transactions. One should be the house you're actually selling, but the other is from people who called you about that house that you're able to build a relationship with and have them become your clients. They may or may not buy that house. Most of the time they don't. My very, very first closed transaction that I had, I got a listing. I overpriced the listing. I didn't do all of the things that we're talking about, like the fiduciary. We'll kind of talk about those stories. But somebody who called me on that sign, I showed them that house. It wasn't a fit for them, but I knew all the inventory, and I took them to another house and we wrote an offer on it, went under contract and closed that one. So that actually was probably, if I look back to my early listings, I got at least 1 or 2 closed transactions for new people and then became in relationship with them. So my second listing, similar thing happened. It was a little house for $129,000. The kid who came, it didn't fit for, but it was investment minded as well. So I started talking to him about investments. He was looking for something. We ended up taking him to a duplex down the street, negotiating a deal. He went under contract and bought that. Well, several years later, he got married. They lived there for a little bit. They kept that duplex. We helped him buy another little house. They lived there several years. We became, again, we're just in relationship, continuing to pour into them. I do market reports for them. I send them information. I invite them to my client events. I'm their resource, right? A couple of years later, they buy another house. A couple of years later, they buy another house. So I think from one of those first ones that called on my sign, we got the duplex and 3 more houses. So there's 4 houses that we've worked with from the sign in the ground. That's why they're so important. Because once you have a buyer, they're just the buyer. The cool thing is, though, is you represent the buyer first time around. 5 years from now, they're probably going to sell or buy again. So sooner or later, you'll end up with those additional ones. Yeah.
And just for example, they didn't want the house you had to sign in. Do you just call them back and say, hey, I have more properties?
I want to know before I show the houses or before I do open houses what inventory is available. So you guys are all doing open houses. Well, these buyers that are going into open houses, they're going to 4 or 5 on that Saturday. So you have to know something that the other open house agents don't, right? So when people walk into the open house and you ask them to sign in and they walk around and you tell them about that house and it's not a right fit, if you don't have additional information, they will leave that house and go to the next one without a problem. The value is you already go, man, I know you're looking in 130 because you're coming, well, it's not 130 anymore. Right? I know you're looking right around 400,000. And if you're doing an open house at 400,000, you should know the best properties in Utah County at 400,000. So that when that's not a right fit, because most of the time it's not, you can start having questions about it. So why did you, this isn't an open house class, but let's run, this is the fun, this is why I can't get through my slides. But you might be at that open house and be like, so do you guys live around here? Are you renting? Do you own? What's bringing you out today? Are you guys just getting the ball started or have you been looking for a while? Are you looking at, oh, of course, Stephen is calling me.
You should join the Power Up in the Morning. We had a chat this morning about open houses and what scripts to use and things like that. It's every day but Thursday at 9 a.m.
And it's on Zoom, right?
Britt sends out a message right when it starts. Yeah, and just join. I mean, it was a good talk this morning. What Cameron suggested was like pick a feature that you think is the most interesting feature of the house, and like when somebody comes in, that's what you emphasize. Say, hey, you know, this house has an awesome backyard, so don't forget to go check out the backyard. And then when they come back, then you have an in with them. Hey, how did you like that? What did you think? Is it checking your boxes?
Well, and then if it is or is not, and you start to understand, I always love, like, that's one of my most favorite scripts is get the ball started. Are you guys just getting the ball started? It's a very low pressure, gets into relationship without, oh no, we're just kind of looking, oh, cool. So are you guys renting? Do you own? Those types of things. Do you guys have family in the area? And get to know them. And then as you start to work through them, like, and we realize maybe this isn't a fit. Well, are you guys already working with a good professional real estate agent? Or are you guys just driving around looking for houses? Have you guys seen the one down the street? I'll be done here at 3. This has to change because of our new thing, but I'll be done here at 3 o'clock. Do you want to meet down there and take a look at that one? Like, know before they know, so that you can, they're like, oh man, they know something. So when they go to the next open house, you're the one that knew way more than the other person who's at the open house, who's like, cool, go ahead and sign in. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I actually go into open houses and agents act like that all the time. And then they're like, open houses don't work. Like, well, no kidding.
Not working.
But you have to know more than other people know. Another thing that I like to do is wherever my open house is on the MLS, what I do is I go into the MLS, I pull up the MLS number, I go into the map search, I put that in, and I do a 1 mile radius. I want to know how many active houses are on the market within 1 mile of that house. Then I flip it to under contract and backup. I want to know how many are under contract within a mile, and I want to know how many sold in the last 30 days. Because that took me less than probably 3 minutes to do, but now I'm a market expert. So as we're walking around talking about things, I'm like, yeah, people love this neighborhood. I can't believe it. We have 14 houses that are under contract within a mile of here. And we actually only have 2 that are on the market. Like, what's bringing you guys to this neighborhood? But like, holy cow, they know things. But it didn't take very long. And I have data, I have information. And then they want to, we have to do better if we want them to work with us. We have to give them a reason why. We have to know more. Okay. Sellers, because this is a seller class. So sorry. We're gonna get back on track because my timer is going because I'm trying to keep us on track. 8 minutes in, or we're already 20 minutes in. Okay. sellers mean that they're ready to put a sign in the yard in the next 14 days. To be honest, anyone who wants to sell, I will make time for you, even if they tell me it's 2 years away. So even if I had somebody who's like, hey, we're looking at buying, I will probably meet with you, but I might slow the brakes a little bit if it was 2 years out. But if you were a seller and you were like, hey, we're thinking about selling in 2 years, we'd love to know what kind of upgrades we should do. Can you come do a walkthrough of our house? Yes, I will be there. Because most of the time, I think it's 67% of the time, they're only going to meet with one agent. So I might as well be that agent. The next thing that I do when anyone talks about listing is I set up a hot sheet right there, a listing alert right then for their neighborhood. I only have it sent to me. I don't send it to my client. I want to know everything that's active, under contract, and sold. So you can do that when you do a listing alert. You can do it so it's not just active. You can put all of the different statuses. No, I just use MLS, the Utah Real Estate. And I want it to come to me. So my listing alerts come to me every morning at 4 a.m. I don't know, I might get 30. Sometimes I just delete them, but most of the time. So, and on my subject line, I just put their address or their last name and I put market research. So when it comes to me and their neighbor lists, I can text that information to the client or the lead. Hey, I saw your neighbor just listed. I can't believe they think they're going to get 700,000 for that house or whatever, even if it's like, so if it's way high or whatever, or, oh my gosh, your neighbor just went under contract. Oh, that house down the street from you just took a price reduction. So 2 things are going to happen. You're providing data information for them and you are the expert. And then you will also know the market. You'll know the exact price you're supposed to be at when you list. And so will they, because you've been educating them along the way, whether it's 2 weeks out or whether it's 2 years out. So you can do this in your database right now. If you don't know what to talk to your people about, go in and set up a listing alert 1 mile around their house and have it come to you, not to them. And I get that you can automate it and send it directly to them. But there is something different about you sending a personal message that says, hey, I saw this is happening in your neighborhood. So huge value. Now, if somebody tells me they want to sell in 14 days, I will like cancel my appointment and go see you. So, but most of mine are nurturers. Last Saturday, I walked through a house. He's not ready to sell for a year, but I'll still walk through it and help him out. Listings, leads, and leverage. We discussed this a little bit. Listings are leverage though. At the end of the day, I will go on my bike ride on Saturday morning and other people will show my property and then they will call me and want to write offers. And again, he who holds the listing controls everything. Those buyers want your house. You get to help decide so much more. Now, even though listings are the name of the game, I was going through old slides that were in 2019. If I had said no to buyers, we closed almost $400,000 in GCI for buyers, right? So if I was like, I just want to work on listings, I would have said no to that money. That would have been dumb. So buyers are still valuable. Listings just gives you more leverage and it'll allow you to create more of a business. The other thing is that when you advertise and you're looking for listings, buyers will naturally come. So if you talk to all of your database about listings and selling their house and selling property, the buyers will naturally come to that. If you only talk to them about buying, you'll have lost the opportunity for the other side. Buying it will just naturally come to you. It just will. I don't have a better way. We already talked about all this, right? Right, this service cycle. We're gonna just run through this because we gotta get through stuff. Okay, so A's, it's super important though on any leads. You gotta respond right away, but listing leads don't wait. If you miss that call, they may call somebody else.
Not me.
Yes, the likelihood is high, especially when they decide.
Well, and the way that my old boss used to always put it is she would say, like, when you're trying to get something done, do you make one phone call and give up? Or do you keep calling until you get someone that's going to actually help you with what your problem is?
It's true. And even people who are committed to me, yeah. I will tell you that they know 7 or 8 real estate agents. They'll only wait so long. Yeah. It's so true. So super important. When you do get that lead, make sure you get good information, that it actually gets logged somewhere and not on the back of an envelope in your car or a sticky note. You think I'm like, and like those things are so real. Even if I get it on a sticky note, I take a picture of it because because all things in this business you learn from making a mistake, right? And so when you're like, I know I had that sticky note, where is it? That's so challenging. And then you're like, oh, that was a $15,000 sticky note that is hanging out in your car somewhere. Really try to find out their motivation, what's happening for them, what's causing it, and then set the appointment. All right, and we talk about pre-listing packets. We're going to talk about that in a second. Oh, sorry, do you want to keep writing? You're good. You got it? Okay. I'm like, we are going to get through my slides today. What sellers want most? So they want help pricing their home competitively. They want to make sure all of the buyers see their home. They actually really want ways to find out how to get the biggest bang for their buck. That is huge for them. And help them with their time frames. So this was from NAR that came out. All right. Do you want more? Sorry. Okay, you got it. Just tell me when we're done. Okay, so we want to build confidence and trust with our sellers. 7 close to appointment tactics. I'm so bad at scripts, you guys. Okay, show the benefits. Take back close. Do you know what the take back close is? I think I was talking to Lucas about this yesterday. So Lucas is doing all these CMA appointments. He's like, I'm doing really good getting the CMA appointment, coming back to the CMA appointment. He's like, but I'm not converting. I don't know what to do. I get done and I'm like, great. So if you guys ever need anything, call me. So the take back close is a little bit about what we talked about. I'm like, it's because you're presenting. You haven't asked them any questions. You're not converting because you're not in relationship with them yet.
So he's just doing his thing and then saying, well, if you ever have
call me.
Yeah, so he's not doing the
But we-
open-ended questions. He's not saying, "Are you interested in selling?" Or are you?
And the take back close. So my close might be like, I know you guys are not interested in selling right now, but let me just ask you this. If you were to sell, where would you go? Then sit quiet. They will have to answer.
Whoever speaks first.
But just ask that. Just, another question that he could actually ask is like, hey, and this is the take back. Hey, I know you guys aren't looking to sell, but I had a couple of questions. When you did buy this home in the past, or when you bought or sold in the past, what is it that what did you like about your real estate agent, and what did you not like? What are you looking for in your next real estate agent? Take the time and stay there. You just did all this work for them. You might as well get in relationship and find out more from them about what they need, what they want, what their goals are. Find out where they're going, but forward thinking. If you weren't going to, and then they tell you they want to go to Florida and live on the beach, well, what's stopping you? If we could wave a magic wand, like, why is it that you're still here? Have you tried before? Like, work through some of those questions. Well, and so this is your trial close. So if we could get you $500,000 for this house, is there any reason why you guys wouldn't want to do it now? Why wait until you're old and retired and dead? You can't enjoy the beach, whatever. There's really good tie downs. You know who knows good at tie downs? She gets me every time. This is how I got into the coaching role. Susie Love. Isn't that what you want? And she nods her head, the little sucker.
I know.
She is so good at tie downs. Well, let's do the right thing and move forward, right? She's so good because she's so soft and easy when she does it.
Could be cute hair.
Right? Oh, well, there's a whole list of tie downs. There's more stuff in your guys' books. And I'm just like, at the end of the day, data is my scripts. You'll learn like data, and then I'm just going to be just pretty real with you. And they need us to help them get to their goal. So I'm not ever manipulative to people, but I do help people move forward. They told me they want to do this. I'm going to help them get there and help them discover it's important to them. Realize that most of the objections they have, they are literally just questions. We tell stories around the fact that we have to jump over hurdles to get over objections. They just want their questions answered, whatever it is. Do you know, I have very few people ask me about commission, but I still have people ask me about commission, not a ton. And it's so funny. When I first started, I was so quick to just be like, out the door, it's gone. But that's really not what it is. So like, I would jump down. So if they bought and sold, that was the biggest one. People would ask me, well, if we buy and sell, will you give us a discount? And I would just jump right to 2% on the listing side. And now I do still discount a lot of the times, but it might be 1/4%. They just want something.
Yeah,
so
feel like they got a deal.
Yep. And they may not even do that, but honestly, like, I'm happy to do that for them. Everybody, okay, ahas. We gotta go fast. Everybody's gotta give one, or we're not moving on.
Listing leads, don't wait.
Listing leads. Oh, don't wait. You go right then. You love on those listing leads. Yes.
Do what is right.
Do what is right because it pays well. Somehow it does. Money just goes into the account. It's the coolest thing.
That's what Heather said yesterday. It was like, if you're in it for the money, you might as well we'll walk out the door now, because if that's your motivation, people are going to smell that and they're not going to want to deal with it.
She had a term that I'm going to just keep. She said, right and ready. They weren't right and ready. And the way it came out, I re-listened to part of it this morning. I was like, they weren't right, ready, right, ready. That's what it was. Right, ready. I'm like, oh, cute little word. Okay. These are. Oh, yeah.
So like, you gotta know everything and customize it to their needs.
I like it. How about you, Viviana? Stuff. There. And the other thing I search is price point. If I'm in a $700,000 house, I search 650 because they're over budget, right? So if I can go show them a house that's less than the one we're standing in, it'll feel like a good value. So I might go out even further too and just be like, I want to know if this wasn't a fit, what can I go take them to? What can I talk to them about? What can I help them know? That's so good. Yay. I love it. Okay. Pre-listing packet is second. Next thing we're going to talk about. E to P, what's that stand for? I know. And what does it stand for? Sorry. Entrepreneurial. Purposeful. I have people, my coaches always say, easy to painful. This is the way, this is easy. This is what we do. Becoming purposeful is not easy, but we will break through our normal abilities. So most people who get into this business are pretty good at winging it, right? We can kind of half-ass it and show up and still do pretty okay. And what's interesting is you'll go here. I don't think that there is I want there to be another slide for that. There should be one that you just keep banging your head against this wall until you are willing to embrace models and systems. You will break through your normal ability or your natural ability for things. And it's interesting that even though we're pretty good at winging it, the minute we actually become a little bit more purposeful, which is sometimes so hard to sit down and work with the list and work with the system and do the database calls, D2D, whatever they're calling them. We renamed them on our team because I could never get those symbols out. So we called them the Ghostbuster list because my assistant, I was like, will you help me with these letters and all this? I was like, I can never remember the acronym. And she was like, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. So that was our Ghostbuster list. And so we have, that's our name. But being purposeful and just being like, sit down and do the work and do the system, you will actually see amazing things come from it. All right. Pre-listing packet goals. Do you guys know what a pre-listing packet is? Kind of. Okay. So that would be your listing packet. Some people, really great agents, are going to make sure we get them something before we sit down. I've tried to do in-person pre-listing packets and failed every time. I've flopped each time. I email my pre-listing packet. So, and it looks, I actually was going to try to share it. I just said I have a couple of different emails that I send. And most of the time, if I have pre-sent that email, they're ready to go when I sit at their table. So I have, I do a range. I do a CMA, and usually I'll send it up front, but it's a pretty big range. And it's going to have some information. I tell them we're going to sit down and talk about it. And it depends on the market. Some of mine, I actually used to have one that talked about the difference between appraised value versus market value, which back in the day could be the difference between $50,000 to $100,000. And we'll talk and discuss what the difference is in our appointment. And that's why I say I line it out. Hey, this is what I'm thinking. You might be between 400 and 500,000. I know that's a big range. We'll sit down and discuss it in our appointment. We'll talk about what the difference of appraised value versus market value is and really get clear about what your home is worth. So I send it, but it's kind of a BS number, but it has the comps and things that we're going to look at. I also send success stories and references in it. So I have, like, for me on my emails, I should know how to get it up there. I don't. I just have little pictures of the houses. This is what we did for this one. This one was originally a for sale by owner. We took over the listing. We got them under contract, negotiated a lease back and non-refundable earnest money. This one we did, and just went through some stories about what that is. And I send that up front. I also have a little video about the 3Ds we're going to cover and some videos. They're kind of corny. They're like 3 minutes of me. But what's funny is when you do a video and send it up front to them in an email, they feel like they already know you when you sit down at the table with them, even though you've never met them. They're already connected to you. So there's some value in that. So I do one that's just like the 3Ds and testimonial videos. You could do that just even with your iPhone, record it, put it up on YouTube, have that link. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy or great. But those testimonial videos I think are really important for people. So that's my pre-listing packet. I've tried to have people drop it off ahead of time. They don't get it. They don't look at it. That was me. I just knew for me it was going to be better for email. I think Clay emails his, and I saw this one guy who used to work here though. He was so good on the phones. He called for sell by owners and he would order an Uber. The Uber would pick up the pre-listing packet and go drop it. As soon as he got somebody to agree to an appointment, he would have that pre-listing packet picked up by an Uber. He'd meet him out front. They would take and drop it off at the client's house. It was pretty cool. I could not ever effectively get that done. So for me, I had to just be like, this is what works for me. Do something before the appointment. I think it's worthwhile. Do something, even if it's just an email. And then it'll also save you time at the appointment because you're not starting from square one. You've already set some expectations in that. It does. Will you, decide what's in your pre-listing packet. You decide whatever that looks like. It could be your whole listing, your whole listing packet anyways, or your pre-list. This is on command. Don't overthink it. Go put your name and picture on it and it'll be done. At least you have something. Something is better than nothing. Don't wait for it to be perfect. Yes. Ah, you have it in Spanish too. In command. All the resources. I'm telling you, she's my Spanish speaking resource. Well, and the other thing is like they have pretty good stuff. So we have one that's not, but I started with just whatever was in there. The lady who I told you did the model house that I got in on, I was sitting in her Ignite class and she set a challenge out. Whoever got their pre-listing packet sent to her first could be able to sit in the model that week. I went home and she's like, all you gotta do is put your name on it and send it to me. But there was 12 people in the class, only one person did it. It's not hard. Like that's the thing is you can sit in these classes and it's like, just do this much. You'll do that much more than everybody else and you'll get the opportunity. So don't make it hard. I've been very grateful for her. Seller consultation. So this is kind of your checklist. So make sure you've delivered your pre-listing packet, confirm the appointment. This sounds so simple, but you have it and you're all excited and you just know that Wednesday night you're going to go meet for this listing appointment. You've been waiting all week long for it. Well, their life has happened. They forgot to tell their wife about it. They forgot that there's kids' soccer game is that night. So this is actually super important. I would confirm it the day before, and then I would send a text on your way that says, hey, looking forward to meeting you. See you soon.
Danny Glover guy that has this Glover U, and his thing, he has more listings than probably anybody. And his thing is he says 5 touches before, from the time you talk to him to schedule the appointment to the time that you show up at the door, he's going to touch them 5 times. And it's so important. And they're just simple touches. It doesn't have to be super hard. A quick text message, send a calendar invite, do the things, send them an email up front. Ensure everybody is there. I might spend all day long with the wife, but if the husband's not there, it just doesn't matter. And then practice your presentation. Okay, so for me, I scheduled 2 appointments every week. I always had an appointment Wednesday night and Saturday morning. And if I didn't have an appointment, I was practicing. Now, who do you practice with? You can practice with yourself. You can practice with somebody else. Do the work to actually practice what you're going to say. You'll say it different then anyways, but it will be so much easier and so much better if you did. The next step is you should record it. Record yourself doing it. That will be huge. One, you'll be able to see so much, but even in the process of you recording it, you will behave differently as you're practicing. You might not even have to rewatch it back, but you'll see things like I'm a clicker with my pen. I didn't even know I clicked like crazy in the appointment, and like recording it, I was like, oh, and this, I'm a kicker. I got a little fidgety, all the things. And if I don't remember something, I look that way every time.
You can see it in the video. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a mess. It's good and bad. It's a little intense. So like even just thinking about it, I'm like sweating. I can feel like my stress level coming up from it. But practice it, and it will matter. It will be worth it. And then just make sure you look good. Don't show up in sweats. It's your first time meeting them. Like they want to have, I always say just try to even dress one step up. So I might dress a little different if I'm going to Levan or Nephi. I might wear jeans. It's Levan and Nephi. And if I come in a 3-piece suit, that's not going to be good either. So it might depend on who I'm meeting with, but step it up just a little bit on who you're meeting with. Okay, ahas from this section.
Send your pre-listing packet before you meet with them.
Send something ahead of time. Yes.
The pre-list, like the confirming the appointment.
I've been on people's doorstep and they forgot and it sucked.
Oh yeah. And then you feel like it's your fault because you didn't.
I know. And you're like, everything you learn in this business, you learn from making a mistake. How about you?
Part of it is practicing because it's like, I think it's like awkward or cringy at some time. It's definitely worth it.
It is so worth it. And we forget.
It is like, I served a mission. Those times where you had to practice, teaching lessons and everything like that. This is awkward. Like, this is cringy. It's giving me kind of deal. But then you get into that next part, the appointment or lesson, whatever it is, it's just so much easier.
You can be so much more authentic in the moment because you're not thinking about what you're going to say. Yeah. So real. Oh, do. And it's so interesting. I learned more during the one time I recorded it. I hadn't even played it back and realized how much more aware I was of everything I was doing. Oh, wow, that was so powerful for me. Oh, you guys were making it to, I think, some of my things. I'm not positive. Okay, this graph is on the MLS. It takes you 30 seconds to pull. It is the home sales graph. You can do it for Utah. You can do it for a neighborhood. You can do it for townhomes. You can do it whatever. You do your search. You come up over into the area. It's another super fast graph that I pull to make me look smart. What it is, there's 3 things on here. The blue is median home sales price. This was back in 2019. It was $341,000. Black is number of homes sold and green is what was listed. This is a graph I use a lot of times when I talk to people because the interesting thing is, and this is just a script, the interesting thing is that you hear that the market is hot and everything is selling, right? Well, the reality is that 41% of the homes last quarter didn't sell. So the number of homes that are listed is the green, the number of homes that sold is black. My job is to make sure you're one of the black. I don't want you to get stuck in the middle there. That's an important piece. People don't realize that typically about 25% of homes don't actually sell. And I specialize in getting your house sold. That's just a script. All right, so yeah. But you could see which area, you could see which neighborhood, you could pull whatever you wanted to pull. It's very interesting because you think there's no inventory, everything has to sell. Well, then I might ask the seller, so why do you think those houses don't sell? If 1 in 4 houses doesn't sell, why do you think they don't sell?
Price.
Might be price, might be condition. Because there's 3 factors that sell a house: price, condition, and marketing. Thanks. But I help them understand that. That's the question. Why do you think those ones didn't sell? And you make them answer that question. This is actually, these slides come from a class that I teach my clients. This is a lot of these are from our seller class. So, and I stole all of these from Clay Winder. I will give him all the credit now. So if you get a chance to take his seller class, so good. It's an all day long class. I've taken it like 6 times. Every time I learn more stuff from him. Price, condition, and marketing. So let's run through what that might look like. We call it the 3Ds. So I just did a little video on what the 3Ds were, and I send it as part of that pre-list. So our 3Ds, we are going to deep clean, declutter, and depersonalize. So when somebody asks me, what's the best way for us to get the most money out of our house? I say, you know what? It's the 3Ds. These are the cheapest, most effective ways for you to get the most money out of your house. We'll do these first, and then we'll talk about whether you should change your carpet, paint, do countertops or whatever. But if we haven't deep cleaned, decluttered, and depersonalized, the rest of the stuff doesn't matter. Now let's jump into what those 3 are. Actually, no, I don't think I have another slide for that. So as I walk through and I tell them about these 3Ds, and we're walking through their house, and I gotta get into mode, you guys. It's just too hot in here. We gotta get into like we're enlisting rid the house, right? Because I use their slides. I'm totally out of my mode. All right, you guys. So what we find is the way we sell a house is different than the way we live in a house. So don't worry, seller. I know you have lived here 26 years and you guys have collected a ton of stuff. This is totally normal. And I always help them because their house is full of crap while we're talking. And I'm like, there's zero judgment. You guys aren't walking through my house right now, but at my house, there are dishes in the sink and clothes in the washer. That is just what it is. So don't worry about it, because the way you live in a house is going to be different than the way you sell your house. Okay. But what we know is about half of everything in your house right now is probably going to need to be boxed up. Okay. But don't worry, you've lived here a long time. This is a great opportunity for you to take things, box things up, let things go, take them to DI, decide what you're going to keep and take to your next house. Okay. Is different than the way we sell houses. The way we live in houses is different than the way we sell houses. So don't feel bad. This is normal. And there's no judgment. And what we know is that probably, and I'm just walking through the house, probably about half of everything in here is actually going to need to be boxed up. And what we also know is garages don't sell houses. Okay. So you are welcome. Let's get stuff boxed up. If you're going to take it to your next house, let's get it boxed and put into the garage and you'll be ready to go. It's also going to give you a chance to just let stuff go. Won't that feel good? There's your tie down. Won't that feel good? And let's talk about, I'm going to actually go through as we do some of these other ones. Yep. Basketball rules, state. I kind of want to run through. Yeah, we'll run through that. So let's actually come back. I want to go back. No, the other direction, the other direction, the other direction. This one. Okay. So declutter. The other thing that we know is that we call it the rule of 3. It's on one of the other sleeves. We call it the rule of 3. Basically, that means, homeowner, you can have 3 of something in each room. Okay. And I know this feels overwhelming, but remember, and I just keep saying the same thing, the way we live in a house is different than the way we sell the house. So basically that means you get 3 things. So in this living room, that means you're going to get a couch, a coffee table, and a chair. And they might have more, but that just goes. So that means this whole row of bookshelves, let's get those DVDs boxed up, and we're going to take those bookshelves and put them out into the garage. But we get 3, and you can have a few more, but that means in your bedroom, you're going to get a bed and 2 nightstands. That means, so I just kind of help them try to visualize, we have to get all that stuff out. Okay. And as you're boxing things up, we want big chunky items, not small things. That's what makes it feel like clutter. Precious moments, figurines feel cluttery. So anything smaller than a basketball, I want you to box up. Okay. If you think about it, when you go into a model house, we love model houses because no one lives there. There's no toothbrushes. There's no socks and shoes. These are all the things I tell the seller at the same. So I want you to think about when you go into a model house, what that feels like. And when you look at what's left out, the artwork or the other things are chunky. So anything smaller than a basketball, I want you to box up. Does that sound good? Another tie down. Does that sound good? And as far as deep cleaning goes, the thing is like, you know, when you move out of an apartment, you remember how it was all white glove. You had to clean the blinds and pull your fridge out and do the baseboards. The thing is that having the house deep cleaned is going to make a huge difference. People won't know why they like it. They'll just know it feels better. And then I say, you know, no one ever notices a clean toilet, but they absolutely notice a dirty one. And they go, oh, you're right. So for us personally, I do pay for my cleaner to go clean for them. And I say, you know what? We'll take care of you. Yolanda will come over and clean for you because you have to take care of all those DVDs. She can't help you with that. I'll take care of the cleaning, but you guys take care of that. And then we had that moment. Like, I can't take care of a lot of the stuff, but yeah. We'll get into that. I send it after. There'll be a time when, and we set up a timeline as like we are walking, and we do it as we go through the contract. So I'll take care of the deep cleaning, but it's super important that we get all the baseboards, the window sills, everything that we don't touch every day has to get cleaned. And the thing is, no one will understand why they like your house. They just walk in and it feels good. But it's because the way we live in a house is different than the way we sell it. Everybody's baseboards look like that. Don't feel bad. And that's why I just tell them, like, everybody's look like that. Your house looks great. And they have already probably prepared for me to get there, even if it looks like crap. So you better honor that. You better say, oh my gosh, I can tell you guys have already worked so hard on this. You can't just rip them apart. Yeah. Now, the last one is depersonalize. Now, I want you guys to think, you guys tell me, what are some things we need to talk about when it comes to depersonalize? What should photos. Family photos. So I'm walking religious paraphernalia. So we'll be walking through, and the script sounds like, oh my gosh, these are such cute kids. I can tell you love them and you're so proud of them. You know, it's super important that we depersonalize. And you know what? I am going to make sure that your house is on every single website out there. And I definitely wouldn't want your kids' faces out there. So let's do the right thing. Let's take these all down, get them packed up and ready to go. Does that sound good? So, but I also want, like, at the end of the day, you guys can decide to do this or not. But if you want me to tell you how to get the most out of your house, this will matter. Now, there's a couple other things we probably need to talk about. It looks like you guys are sports fans. Now, I want to tell you that I have walked into houses before, and it has been a red house or a blue house, and I've had buyers actually walk right back out. So if you really want to get the most for your house, I recommend we go ahead and take that down too. And as we walk, depends on the house, everybody's got different paraphernalia. We walk and I go, oh, you know, this is beautiful and I can tell it's so important to you. But we probably need to limit it to, I usually tell people we need to limit it to one temple picture or one Jesus picture. You guys decide. So, and that's a super important one. I had to learn that the hard way too. Those ones are easier for me to talk about because I understand it a little bit more. One of my first listings that expired, I didn't have the guts to talk to them about their crosses. And there were a lot of crosses and I didn't know how to talk about it. And that listing ended up expiring. And in the spring, after taking Clay's class, I got the confidence to go back in and relist it. And I said, hey, I know this is kind of hard to talk about, but I think it's super important that we depersonalize the house. And part of that is the religious paraphernalia. I can't remember what word I used, but the religious piece to this. So I understand how important it is to you. We probably need to limit it to one cross. We took them down. It sold that weekend. That's what sucked, is I realized it was my fault. I couldn't have the honest conversation they deserved, and I wasn't professional enough to talk about it. That's when I'm like, and you know what? There was a house that had a lot of temple pictures. We were right across from American Fork Temple. And I had that conversation. They said no. And I said, great. Because it's their house, but they are paying us a ton of money to tell them what's important. And they said, you know what? Whoever buys this house, that's going to be important to them too. I'm like, that sounds great. It's just important that I share with you what we know from our experience. So doesn't mean they have to, but most of the time people go, oh, okay. And if they say no, but if we don't have the courage to be professional and stand for what they've asked us to do, which is give them an honest conversation. I had a similar conversation about cat pee. And I was like, dude, we have a couple of choices. It looked like brand new carpet. I'm like, it smells really bad. We have a couple of choices. Either we're going to have to replace this carpet, or I think we're going to have to price $10,000 lower. And I said, price it $10,000 lower. Okay, you decide. I've shared with you what I think, and that's my professional opinion. Depersonalize. There's a couple other things we haven't hit. We hit sports teams, family pictures, religion. There's a big one. Furry friends, dead and alive. So that might look like, as we're walking, dead or alive. That might be, oh, we're walking through and I'm like, well, I already know they have a dog because it's been sitting on my lap this whole time. Oh my gosh. And you just try to be so kind, but you're like, and whether it smells like it or not, this is how I go about it. And we're walking through and I'm like, you know, that dog bowl, the problem is, you know, your house, this is what I'll say most of the time, is your house doesn't smell. I usually say, your house doesn't smell, but you know what I know is buyers that see that are going to go, I knew it smelled like dog in here. I knew, and it'll probably cost you $10,000. I'm like, you guys don't have to find a place for your pet to be. I just want to let you know, like, it's a pretty expensive decision. Do you think there's any way there could be a family member or friend that could hold on to your animals for this week while we show? And then it's important that you hide every sign of life that there's animals. Every tennis ball in the backyard, every
chewed up shoe.
I was like, all of the poop will matter. So we took over a listing too that had expired, and I felt so bad because that agent just wasn't honest with them. Like when we walked through, I was like, your backyard is full of poop. You gotta clean it up. She's like, oh, I do? No one had told her. And she didn't even realize how important that was. They had an amazing backyard, but you would walk back there and be like, yeah, no, I'm cool. I'm good. And so I'm super grateful. That family, I've probably helped their family members, 7 family members since, because we were willing to have some of those hard conversations that people didn't want to talk about, where like, let's get rid of all of your personal stuff. Let's get rid of all those things. So the live animals we've talked about, super important. If you can't have a friend watch them, do not kennel the dog during a showing. It is the worst freaking experience for the buyer ever to be listening to that dog bark. It is horrible. Or that little house that I told you that one guy didn't buy, but we helped him buy several more. I was the worst listing agent. They most of the time would take the dog. I remember somehow there was a miscommunication. We were doing home tour and this dog was as tall as me. I went to open the door to show all the agents and there was this huge dog standing there. I did not know how to talk about it with people. Don't let them have animals at the house during showings. Like, absolutely no. My one friend has a zoo at her house. I mean, we're talking tarantulas and birds and dogs and cats and mice. And we went to sell her house. And she farmed everything out and got rid of it except her Great Dane. So she would take the dog bed, all the bowls, put them in the back of her Mustang, and she would drive her Great Dane around for a drive during showings. And I was like, just get them out of the house. Oh my gosh, that was an adventure.
Do fish tanks and all that stuff matter or no?
Do they smell? Would be the concern. So we did show, I was on home tour with somebody and I was like, oh, it smells in here. But there was a few things that smell. I think they had, but I don't think they're the end of the world, but be careful because if they look dirty or they smell. Yeah.
Is carpet the only thing that makes it smell, or is it like couches and beds?
Everything's different. And some people are better pet owners than others. Like some are just, it just depends. And sometimes you might not be able to do anything, is maybe they don't have anywhere for the pet to go. Maybe they don't understand too, like how to get it clean. We'll do our best. sometimes it might smell like dog. So when you're pricing, you have to realize that you're going to have to, if you are comparing to one that just got remodeled, but your people didn't have money to change their carpet, you got to price it right. It'll impact it.
Is it?
$3 a square foot installed with pad. And that is through Taylor's Carpet. Carrie Taylor's an agent upstairs. I had no idea that she was owner of Taylor's Carpet. I can call them and they can have new carpet in 3 days. $3 per square foot. And that is a pretty decent carpet that I put in lots of our houses. Or like an LVP or something. Carpet's cheaper. It is cheaper, but it depends on the situation. If people had money, and if I think there's times that if you're looking at it, it depends, because I think you can do a lot with LVP. Looks so good. Look, it totally updates the whole house. But we have some pictures of carpet in here that we'll talk about. Oh, we didn't talk about dead animals. Super important. I literally have people walk in and there's heads on the walls and they'll walk right back out. So I had one little house, 1,400 square feet with 26 heads in it. And so, I mean, I'm like ducking and weaving to get through to the kitchen table. And again, I was like, you guys, and that's my take back, is I'm like, you guys can leave these up. I just have to warn you that it's probably going to cost you $10,000. So you guys decide. And that's usually what I say. And the wife will look at the husband and he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, but maybe you can put them in the garage, or you can put them in the shed, or you can and I was surprised how much that opened that house up. And I've had people say, no, we're not taking them down. I'm like, cool. Just my job to tell you. No judgment. But you should tell them. And it might depend too culturally. So here might look different than Levan. And one might be different than 26.
It's a mountain cabin. It might be a little bit more understandable. Yeah.
True. But what is interesting is I was showing homes up Hobble Creek. And they were $3 million cabins, and they would not purchase the one that had the animals on the wall. So I know you're proud of that big giant thing. I don't even think you killed it, but whatever. You decide if you want to take it down. I just give you the information, and if you feel like it's a value, you guys decide what you want to do with that. Other things that might be personalized. I have a friend that loves the color purple. She showed up here the other day. She had purple sunglasses, purple. Both glasses were purple. She was 100% purple. Her phone was purple. Her bedroom is purple. Her bed set is purple. She's a funny lady. No. What? No. I'm just like, bless you. Bless you. She just, yeah. You try to depersonalize if you can. If they can't afford to paint that big purple room, maybe you can put in some fresh bedding. Maybe you can put in some curtains. Maybe you can do what you can to depersonalize. If you can, you might want to paint it. Things that are worthwhile. Once we've done but if we go into that room and it's just full of crap, let's just start with that. Let's get rid of the crap. Let's clean it. Let's stage it. And can we get away with that? I had one that was bright blue or dark blue. It was like they had used it for podcasting. We couldn't afford to paint it. We'd put money into other things in the house. So we did white bedding and white lamps and more lights. We changed out the lights to bright white. Like, we did as much as we could, but that was still the feedback in that room. It was a thing. I probably should have had them do more. I think we hit most of that. Okay, basketball rule of 3. The golden mile. So I talked to them about the golden mile. And again, we'll be working through what they have to do. And then we'll be like in the storage room downstairs and like, should I clean this out? I'm like, okay, let's talk about the golden mile. The golden mile is from where the buyer gets out of their car until they hit the kitchen table. This is actually their decision-making path. They will know by the time they hit the kitchen table if they're going to make an offer on your house. Everything else is bonus. Really, that's it. And the thing is like, if that's 100% and you want to go talk about doing the other things, great. But I want you to focus. I want you to go out and I just tell them, I want you to go out to where the buyer's getting out of their car, and I want you to get out and look till you get to the kitchen table. That has to be the money path. That means your curb that you haven't swept in 3 years is gross and has weeds all over it. That matters. Your doorbell that is all cracked from sun rotted, pay $10 and put a new doorknob on, or doorbell on. Paint the wood on the outside of the trim. They're like, should I paint the door? I'm like, I don't know whether you really have to, but put a nice wreath on there and get the trim around. Think about that. And then the kitchen table. The best decisions are always made at the kitchen table. So you as a buyer's agent as well, you're going to walk people through homes and they're going to be down in the storage room because they've gone all the way through their home and they're talking about whether they're going to make an offer on the house. Good agents will always help guide them back up to the kitchen table. They'll be, where was I at? I was with somebody just recently and we're down in the basement. Oh no, we were at our project and we're in the breezeway. So anyone who's been there knows what the breezeway is. It's like an unfinished basement is what it feels like. And we're all standing there and I'm with Becky on my team and they're standing there talking about the community and I just start walking. That's all. And we walk back to the kitchen and the kitchen table because that's where they should be remembering why they love it, not out in the cement cold room. Get them back up there. You'll next time you're in a storage room and you're having that conversation, you'll remember, be like, oh, just start walking and keep talking with them and start walking them back to the kitchen table. Make sure that's the golden mile. Okay. All right. These, I'll turn this out and we can run through. These are, so all the things that I just went through with you guys, that's actually a class that we teach. So that's just like, and that's basically my listing appointment. But I want to run through vacant versus staged. When I started, I thought clean and vacant was just as good as staged, but it's not. It makes a huge difference to have them, even if it's not greatly staged. Other simple tricks on especially vacant houses: shower curtains, towels, and soap, toilet paper. If you ever list a vacant house, put toilet paper in the house. They're going to use the bathroom whether they should or not, and it's way worse if there's no toilet paper in there. Wreaths, mats, and greenery. So you could put together yourself a little vacant house kit that you can bring to your listings that are vacant. And for $100, you can totally warm that house up. A shower curtain and towels make a huge difference. We'll show you in a couple of these pictures. So these are the same. These are both MLS pictures. They're of the same living room. This lady took my class. What do you guys see? Tell me the differences between here and here. And it's funny that they're the same living room and their windows are covered. Good. Cluttered. Isn't that so crazy? These are the same shelves and they're empty and it's just fine.
Yeah, it's
TV, a good photographer, I will just tell you this, a good photographer makes a huge difference. This is professional photography and worth it. They pay us a lot of money to sell their houses. The reason that real estate agents have a bad name is because there's agents that will take their cell phone and take a picture. And they pay us way too much money to show up like that. She actually just spray painted the gold. I can get just photos for 150, but if I do photos, a 3D Matterport tour, and a black line plan, I can get it for about 300.
Drone.
Oh, it includes drone. It does not include a video. Video editing costs more. You'll probably pay 200 for a video, and I don't typically do a video. I like 3D tours personally, and I think so. I do that for all of my listings, whether it's a condo or a trailer, or whether it's $1 million house. Because for me, it's important to me that the person who lives in the trailer knows I value them as much as the person who's in the $3 million house. I don't know whether it sells the house, but it definitely sells my ability to get the listing. And if I said I was going to do it, I want to keep my commitment. So for me, it's more about that. And I actually don't know if it matters. I do think on Zillow, you get more views on Zillow when you have a 3D tour, because on Zillow, the way they line it up, they have picture, 3D tour big, and then they'll click that. So I do think you get more views that way. Yeah. For me personally, I don't think it's worth my time personally I'm not good at it. I don't change my own oil. I don't do plumbing. I'll let somebody else go do it. And there's people, the thing is you have to be wise at who you hire, because I had a $1.3 million listing, and my normal guy, I was like, oh, he's not gonna be good enough for this fancy one that's in my neighborhood, and I gotta like be fancy. And so I hired this other guy. It's $800 and they sucked. I had to have my guy come back and redo them. Yeah. And so I've kind of learned too who I use for what. I actually have not used him I've been working with somebody else for my new construction, because his photos weren't as easy for me to virtually stage. But he's doing our listing that we're doing on Monday, and he'll be great. And he's a good value, I think. And Kevin Gunther, he's actually an agent in our office. He's a great, and he doesn't sell a lot of real estate, and he is so good. You should let somebody else do the listing and get a listing. Because that's not what he does every day. This is like what we do every day. That's not what he does every day. And that's my belief, is do what you do it well, and let other people do what they do well. And he's a good dude, but that would be. All right, let's keep going. We have more pictures. What do we know here? What do we see?
Personalization.
Yes. Yeah, where's this guy? Hang on. That is crazy. Just get rid of all that crap. They thought they were staging here. Don't let them believe that's staging. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Also, we got rid of these, and we found something in her cabinet that was chunky, and we kept one chunky item. See how those are the size of a basketball? Yeah, and a photographer that is good. Here, same thing, new fresh bedding and better, the blinds are open, white curtains instead. And just a good photographer. I mean, I just think, man, I love seeing the difference on that. This, they did redo flooring, but that's the same bathroom.
That's a really bad picture. And like,
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that so worth $150? Do you think that she got more money for her house because I invested $150? Probably. It's more likely than not. Maybe not.
The other picture looks so small.
What do we know about this bathroom? Shower curtain, white and open. Angle.
And the darkness.
The other thing that I tell them is no mats. Your eye goes straight to the mat. And I just say the way we live in a house is different than the way we sell a house. So I want you to stack up all of your mats. You can have them for open houses, but for pictures, pull them all out. It will always look bigger and better without mats on the floor. So we pull all of them up, and so they might not be there when we do photos. I stack them, roll them, and I stick them in a closet. There is one thing in here that is free that I swear to God, you guys, just do it. And it makes your bathroom look classier every time. And we'll wait till you find it. Close the toilet, please. Just close the lid. It doesn't take anything. And I'm like, just close the lid.
This one has the mirror, so it makes it look.
It's bigger. So much bigger. It's the photographer. It's a good camera. So, I mean, if you are a good photographer, do it. Take your own pictures, but it's not that much. This is the same thing. The mats, they did have different laundry here, but get rid of all of this, because this is the way we want to live. She was still living in this house. We just put everything in those cabinets. That was the difference. She boxed up stuff she didn't need, and she got rid of everything that was out and just let it be. Okay, so this is a before and after. So on this one, we invested, it was about $10,000 in paint, carpet, and minor repairs, but increased value for the client was probably close to about $65,000 or $70,000. So it was worth it. That's the carpet from Taylor's, $3 a square foot. And this wall over here, Grandpa loved, he didn't know how to install these kind of pictures. So he had regular Velcro on the walls, and it ripped the walls up. So we did all the paint and the carpet for him. This was a deal that I did for them where we paid out of closing. So a lot of times we will do that. This is a pretty, like, this bathroom cost me like $100. to get a toilet lid, get some minor repairs done, and put a couple of pictures in and get it cleaned. Like, so worth it. This is actually a newer house. This is the way she left it when she left town. We just had it cleaned and staged, and a good photographer.
Do you use a staging company or?
No, I just have. So I'm not a great stager. I'm not going to try to tell you I have a. Susie Clyde, good stager. But I want you to look at. No, I don't. I do my own. That's why hers is really good. Mine is like good enough. So this is what I mean by if you just do your bathrooms on a vacant house and put a towel, a pitcher, a plant, and a curtain, huge difference. And so, and for me, I don't have a ton of stuff, but I have a couple of futons, a couple of chairs, a couple of plants. These are the trick here. Those are 2 6-foot folding tables. That is like, I can store those well. I can put them in my own car. I don't have to ask my husband for help. The tables are pretty sturdy. They're better than the blow-ups, and I get less holes in them. So if I do the kids' rooms, I have air mattresses, and I have one that has a hole. So like in the last one we sold in Santa Quinn, like I went in one day and I was like, the bed's all like sad and down. I'm like, sorry guys. Okay, but kind of fun to just see what some basic things are. These are, what do we do when we talk about staging? A lot of times it's about helping them use what they already have and make their space better. So we just got rid of all of the family pictures, and we brought in this set, and I just did command hooks to do it. Changed the light fixture, totally brightened that area up. And it didn't cost very much for us to totally help. That house was built in 2020. It should look so old. 2020, right? So we, yep. We totally, they had this table. I had 4 chairs that I brought, and I brought in a bigger rug. And we open up the blinds, get natural light in there. The other thing we did was, so it's not like a ton of stuff. We used their stuff, brought in a rug, brought in a couple of pillows. Nothing that is super huge. And then this area here, those dang rugs, just get rid of those rugs. Clear their countertops. That's such an important thing. Just help them know they got to get everything into that pantry. Get your fridge cleared off. We did change that light fixture because it was such an, like it was, I think I spent $75 on a different light fixture and had it changed out. They didn't have an island, so it depends. Sometimes I'll just do it. If it's and then I keep a lot of it. So it just depends. If it's a 3% listing and you're making $18,000, I might plan on $200, $300, $400 in repairs for them. And it depends. And sometimes, yeah, it's just what I do. It's just what I'm going to do. If I've changed their light fixture out, they're pretty committed to me. They're going to tell their friends and family, oh my gosh, you should call Angie. She just takes care of it. She'll get it done for you. This stuff I just hold on to. This is all like, I have a couple of cutting boards. So I've just bought some stuff. It's not a ton. Most of it though, if we think about it, the biggest bang for our buck here was getting rid of the crap and a good photographer. So if you can't afford to do the other things, don't. So sometimes we just don't. Sometimes we do, but sometimes we just don't. Okay, ahas here. We're down to 7 minutes till closing.
Close toilet lids.
Close the toilet lid and teach them, because they don't know that. If you go to my family's house where I grew up, none of the lids are closed. I will never fix my dad. It's fine, but just close the lid. Yeah.
I kind of got trained.
So good. Teach them to just like make sure that there's not open lids in your pictures too. Train the photographer. They don't know that.
Got clients back.
Every time.
I learned a lot from those photos.
Mm-hmm.
Just how just little things make a huge difference, like the rugs or the curtain. Like there's no curtain in the bathroom. Like it looks weird.
Mm-hmm.
It says like this is weird math. I don't like it.
It feels cold. Doesn't feel like home.
Yeah. But then also you can't make it too much like home.
Yes, I want to just.
Try rugs on the floor. Like obviously, like in a normal bathroom, you're gonna have those bathroom floor rugs to catch the water and everything, but knowing the house looks nasty.
Used even too, and it's somebody else's bathwater that is on those rugs. Like things like that, you just realize you're helping them feel like this is their house, not your house. Vacant houses, this is where if you even bring in, if it's a totally vacant house, if you can bring a plant and a cutting board, it'll warm your kitchen up like crazy. So having a few small things in a vacant house. So that's part of, in my listing my pre-list, it says things we include. We include accessory staging for bathrooms, kitchen. That's just part of what we include as part of our listing process. I typically, when it's vacant, I will stage for a month and a half. I'll do the living room, kitchen, and primary bedroom, and then the bathrooms. And they're not, like I said, it's not fancy. You look at Susie's houses, you're like, oh, she's got nice furniture. Yeah, she's got 3 storage units. Yeah, a little bit of something, even a plant goes a long way, or a plant in a chair. Yeah.
They're still living there and showing the house, like all this like decluttering of the things they use on a daily basis. How does that work?
That is awesome because it helps talk about price. So we actually didn't hit that script. So my script will be like, man, selling a house sure sucks. This is going to be tricky because you guys live here, right? So we totally have, you guys get to decide what the price is going to be. But what I think makes sense when you're living here is make sure we price it right so that we can get all of the showings at once and we can get offers right away. And so I kind of run through what that looks like with them because I'm like, and I just say, because it kind of sucks if I have to call you and say, hey, people are coming in an hour. You're going to have to throw everything in maybe a laundry basket, shove it underneath the bed and make it look like this. Can you guys do that? And then what happens is if they didn't price it right the first time, after about a week, they're more ready. They're ready to be more aggressive in what that looks like. Because the other thing, and this is another script I'll share with them, is even prices that are even homes that are overpriced still get shown. And you know why? It's because me as a real estate agent, I have to show 5 houses. And I am going to show all 5. And I probably even will show your overpriced house to make the rest of these look better. So what happens when we're overpriced is you're going to show like crazy, but you won't get any offers. So let's do the right thing and price it right the first time. So that's there's our tie down. Yeah. The harder it is, price is going to kick your butt.
What's wrong with your house?
What happens too is you'll drive it down below market value if you don't. They'll end up selling it for less than if you would have priced it right the first time. And sometimes sellers have what they believe. I had one that took us 90 days to sell, and he just really it did. And we ended up $10,000 less than if he would have just priced it where he needed to start. But it's their decision. Aha for you? Did we get your aha already? Awesome. Rule of 3. The 3Ds.
Oh.
Uh-huh. The golden mile. Good. I love it. Okay, we're getting close to being done. This is just talking about whatever your marketing plan is. It's probably in your pre-listing packet, whatever that is. This is important to a seller. But my point here is make sure you're willing to do everything on the list. And if you're not, just delete it. If you don't want to do open houses, don't you dare put it on the marketing list that you give your client because you will underperform for them. If you're not going to knock doors, don't put on there that you do. Just even if there's only 4 things on here and these are the 4 things you're going to do them well. But be wise. Look through that list that's on that packet and only put on there what you're absolutely committed to doing. Super important. For us, we do open houses, but if there are some agents that just don't, and that's okay. Okay, the other thing that I learned the hard way is make sure you communicate daily with your listing. This is my personal opinion. Some people be like, oh, that's too much. It's not. Even if it's just hey, no showings today. Just wanted to give you an update. I promise. Especially I say this, ones that are overpriced, you might go twice a week because they're just not ready to move. But even if you don't and you only communicate once a week, make sure it's on Fridays. All I do is send a text or a phone call that says, hey, before the weekend, I just want to give you an update. I promise if you don't do it on Friday, Monday's going to suck. They're going to think you didn't do anything. You're not worth your money. You're not working for them. They can't believe that they're paying you 30 grand to sell their house, which is really 15 because you're sharing half of it. But whatever, it's still their 30 grand. It's a lot of money. They work all year long for that 30 grand. So you better like call and communicate on Fridays. And I say that because if you don't call them on Friday, I swear to God, all weekend long, they've been working all week and they're not even thinking about it. They're off Friday night. All day long Saturday, they haven't heard from you. There's no showing scheduled. There's no open house going on. All day long Sunday, they go, honey, have you heard from Angie? I can't believe we haven't heard from her. What's she doing to sell our house? By Monday, they're steaming, and I swear you will get calls at 10 o'clock on Monday morning. How are you guys? We're almost done. It's just Ignite. Do you guys know the Hesses? Are you guys related to the person on the catalog upstairs? Amber Hess? This, the one, apparently, she was on American Idol, and her last name's Hess. I was like, is she part of their family? Yeah. So one thing that I want to make sure that you guys know, and we are really close. Oh, 10 seconds left is, we're going to delete this. This is super important for you guys to realize. We'll be so fast, 2 minutes. A buyer has a chance to back out. Sellers do not. This is super important as new agents. Do not accept an offer on one of your listings until you either have your coach, mentor, or broker look over it. Because you may get your seller under contract and it may be incredibly dangerous for them and they can't cancel. So I just have to warn you on those things. Like that's an important piece. When you get an offer on it. So as you are a listing agent and you get offers in on your listings, make sure they're reviewed before you have your seller accept it. And they'll probably give you some advice. I didn't realize my first offer I accepted on a listing had 21 days of due diligence. That meant for 21 days, our house was off of the market and they could cancel for any reason whatsoever. And I had no idea. And I'm like, somebody else would have told us that. What are we watching? Everyone's hanging out here. Oh, it probably is. You guys should just come on in. This is Susie. We were talking about you. Your staging is way cuter than mine, but mine's good enough. Yeah, I think it is. He's coming on in. Okay. We're good. We're at the end. We got through so much. Last final thought, you guys, you do have a team. When I started, don't forget that you have escrow people who are helping you, a closing team, a broker, 315 agents that are here helping you. These are all the things that I would list as far as like my team when I was a solo agent. So I have an open house and marketing team. I have a broker and compliance, lending and finance team, title, escrow, and closing team, and you are the lead agent. You're not alone. You've got people helping you. Cool. Last of it, all that. There's my phone number. If you want it, take it. Text me if you need anything. Let me know. Is somebody else going to be able to help make this happen? No, maybe.
Hunter?
Angie's the best.
I don't know how to stop this, but hopefully Riz can help us.